The next phase of the streaming wars are heating up as sports enter the arena. The NFL, ESPN, Disney, Max, NBC Universal, and Peacock are all vying for your ads dollars. And a new report indicates that Disney might be making a big deal with the NFL in order to take control of all NFL entertainment. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, hello. I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and with me is a budding investigator himself, Mr. Vash Sky. How you doing today, Vash?
Thank you so much for the compliments there, Jonas. I don't know if I can match your investigatory talents there, but I am doing just fine. And apparently, ESPN might be doing even better upon maybe this deal actually going through right here, as they may have found a partner in the NFL.
Yeah, look at that. Take it away, Vash.
Please. Disney NFL in talks that could give League ESPN stake, put NFL media under Disney. This is coming from Variety via Brian Steinberg right here. Walt Disney Company and National Football League are said to be in earnest talks, according to two people familiar with the matter, that could have the league take a stake in ESPN while putting its NFL media unit, which the sports body has been trying to monetize in better fashion, under the media's control. Such a move would further align Disney and the NFL, making it difficult for the company to lose valuable sports rights to show top-rated football games, and could put such NFL assets such as NFL Network and Red Zone under Disney's control. This is really, really fascinating because, well, we know that these sports rights are immensely expensive, and they're only getting more expensive, right? I think YouTube just secured the NFL Sunday Ticket sports rights from the NFL for like $14 billion. It's just huge amounts of capital right there. So when you're looking at Disney looking to cut costs but still stay in the live sports game, a partnership like this makes a whole lot of sense, at least on paper.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you there. And I think about the history of Hulu, which was originally a partnership between several large media networks, Fox, Disney, Warner Brothers, and ABC. Obviously, I've named the same company on several of those instances there. Of course, Comcast in there at some point. But at one point or another, almost every television company was involved in Hulu as a major or at least 10% partner. I wonder here if ESPN, there are talks that the NBA is in negotiations with ESPN as well. If Disney is trying to maintain control of ESPN, which, by the way, they share that with Hearst Media right now. So Hearst might be in talks here as well. That if the NFL and the NBA, and they've just secured NCAA rights for another 8 years, if ESPN is really going for that long-rumored central one-stop shop for all sports, or most of them at least, they've got the UFC. Although I wouldn't, in the United States at least, I wouldn't put UFC on the level of NFL and NBA. Do they also have the NHL?
I believe they're in talks to do something there, but I'm not sure if they have those.
If not, then you should expect a phone call soon.
Yeah, exactly. No, I would definitely agree with that. And look, this goes back to like the mothership concept, right? Where all sports content emanates from one place, and ESPN is attempting to position itself in the most fiscally responsible way it can, let's say. And look, the competition's heating up. In fact, interestingly enough, NBC, this isn't necessarily the most favorable article for them, but NFL fans slam NBC for boasting about Peacock's Dolphins Chiefs streaming numbers. You'll note that the AFC wildcard games that took place over the weekend was streamed exclusively to Peacock, so people had to do the monthly subscription thing, and even in order to even see it outside of the Kansas City or Miami area, right? And right here, 23 million viewers. That is a huge amount of people who actually opted in for this. Your regular kind of late season game gets about 20 million viewers on broadcast television. So the fact that you can get 23 million viewers to show up and opt into this service is astounding right there. So, Disney's got to be looking at this, and that's why they've been very aggressive in securing on-air talent. You just saw Mike Tirico there. He left from ESPN to NBC some years ago. Obviously, John Gruden, who used to do Monday Night Football, Well, he opted for a contract with the Oakland Raiders in order to coach their team, and well, that a lot happened there. But they secured Troy Aikman and Joe Buck from Fox right there, brought them into the fold. So they've been really aggressive on this front for a while here. I think this definitely makes sense, especially from a fiscal standpoint. If you can have the rights of NFL Network and Red Zone, which is massive right now, and then keep your production costs down by not having to, fulfill these huge league contract costs. I think it makes a lot of sense.
I think you're right, and there will be some kind of exchange of value here, of course. And if ESPN can have it to where the NFL benefits, at least indirectly, by having their everything on ESPN as well. And I'm not saying it's going to be everything, but you think about companies like Amazon and Apple and Microsoft, which Microsoft just eclipsed Apple as the largest company by market market capitalization here. They went up to 2.88 trillion in market valuation. Wow. And Disney currently has a CFO on their in their executive leadership team who is on the board of Microsoft. So when you think about money changing hands, there are some big players out there that might be looking to make ESPN a tile on their services, like Amazon Prime Video or Apple TV Plus, or if Microsoft, heaven help us if Microsoft actually decides to get into the streaming game in a major way and blows up this entire system. ESPN, I think, has a great option here. Of course, this is all leading to an ESPN direct-to-consumer streaming service. So if you think that we're done, if Disney Plus and Hulu become one service and we can all, quote unquote, breathe a sigh of relief that the streaming wars have pretty much settled, just look for ESPN to start this all over again with their $35 a month-ish streaming service, and starting that churn again to say, oh, it's not profitable yet. It's going to be profitable in Q4 of 2028 or 2029. And then we can all blame all of the massive losses on the Disney company until that point, to give them a another excuse to use on their shareholders' calls. It'll be more difficult because Hulu and Disney Plus, of course, can write off any content there that is Star Wars, Marvel. Anything could be written off as a Disney Plus expense. They're going to have more trouble with ESPN. So Vash, let me ask you, what do you think is the strategy here? Are they going to try to take over all of sports, or do you think they'll get their big names and then play nicely with others?
I think they'll get the big names. I think they, Roger Goodell, the commissioner for the NFL, has shown that he is flexible to doing deals in this space right here. We know that Bob Iger has an long-standing relationship with Adam Silver, in particular, the commissioner of the NBA. And so I think they're going to get these big leagues here as part of the mothership, as it were, and facilitate sports that way. I think they want to not be so reliant on some leagues like the UFC, for example. So it's like, can we get the big names in here, get them under the one umbrella right here, and then maybe necessarily play nice with some of the competitors in this space for the other leagues. I think that's the plan right here. I don't think that they're going to want to stretch themselves too thin, but you never know.
Yeah, the other thing that I will add is that sports have this great tendency of being apolitical. Now, there have been moments where they have flirted with being very political on a regular basis, but generally speaking, the consumer of the sport would like to watch the sport, and they're tolerating the rest of it in order to enjoy it. And they can do a couple of things to make it a little bit better. Okay, you can have your fancy graphics, but the Dolphins-Chiefs game, most people were tuning in for the Dolphins-Chiefs game and didn't really care. They didn't like that they had to go to Peacock, but they grinned and bore it, as it were.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning here to That Park Place. Like this video if you like this video. If you know someone who is into all of these business mergers and acquisitions and is trying to keep track of what's going on with ESPN and the NFL and the NBA and anyone else that Disney might try to pony up to the bar and convince to join them in their grasp for media domination, well, then maybe send them this video. And of course, please consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.